of destruction is breaking over the Ukrainian front. The TOS-3 Dragon, Russia's deadliest weapon system, unleashes a thermobaric shock of devastation against which there is almost no protection. Explosions that extinguish all life in seconds, shockwaves that tear even bunkers apart, and heat that burns the very air. Ukraine is facing a threat that overpowers any defense. Anyone who believes the war cannot become even more brutal is sorely mistaken. The dragon is here, and it is changing the battlefield forever. But what makes the TOS-3 Dragon so special? And why is it such a major challenge for the Ukrainian army? To understand this, we need to take a closer look at the development and technical capabilities of this system. With the Dragon, Russia has introduced a new generation of its notorious heavy flamethrowers. Unlike the predecessor models TOS-1 and TOS-2, the TOS-3 is mounted on a tank chassis, providing the crew with significantly better protection. Additionally, the system is equipped with an anti-drone cage and a modern electronic warfare suite, shielding it from drone attacks and enemy reconnaissance. The TOS-3 Dragon features 15 rocket launch tubes, fewer than the TOS-2, but with significantly greater range. While the TOS-1A can only reach about 6 to 10 kilometers, the TOS-3 now achieves a range of up to 24 kilometers. This means Russia can strike Ukrainian positions from a greater distance, without entering the range of Ukrainian artillery or drones. The rockets are unguided, but thanks to improved targeting and stabilization, the system is much more accurate than previous models. The effect of the thermobaric rockets is devastating. Unlike conventional explosives, the TOS-3 sprays a fine mist of flammable substance over the target area. When ignited, this creates a massive fireball with extreme heat and a powerful shock wave. The explosion consumes the oxygen in the surroundings and generates a vacuum effect that can be deadly even inside bunkers and protected positions. Soldiers who survive such an attack report severe burns, lung injuries, and psychological trauma. The development of the TOS-3 Dragon is closely linked to the experiences of the Ukraine war. Russia has learned from the weaknesses of its predecessors: insufficient range, vulnerability to drone attacks, and inadequate crew protection. With the Dragon, a system has been created that combines the advantages of armor, range, and electronic warfare. Experts assume that the TOS-3 is already in use in Ukraine or will be deployed very soon. The Ukrainian army is almost defenseless against this new threat. Conventional air defense systems are virtually ineffective against the TOS-3, as the rockets are fired from a great distance and usually from protected positions. Drones, which previously posed one of the greatest dangers to Russian artillery, are effectively countered by the anti-drone cage and electronic warfare suite. The psychological impact of the TOS-3 is enormous. The explosions are so powerful that they cause not only physical but also mental damage. Soldiers who survive such an attack report panic, disorientation, and lasting trauma. The Dragon is thus not only a symbol of Russian military power, but also a tool of psychological warfare. The international community is observing the development with concern. The use of thermobaric weapons is not explicitly prohibited, but it is critically viewed due to its devastating effect on people and material. Russia is using the TOS-3 deliberately to break through Ukrainian defense lines and weaken troop morale. But what is daily life like at the front when the TOS-3 Dragon is deployed? Ukrainian soldiers report attacks that turn entire streets and positions into rubble and ashes within seconds. The shock wave of the explosion carries away everything in its path. Bunkers that were previously considered safe no longer provide adequate protection. The wall of fire sweeps through the ranks, and even survivors are often severely injured or traumatized. Russia usually deploys the TOS-3 Dragon in combination with other weapon systems. After an attack with thermobaric rockets, infantry assaults often follow to overrun the weakened Ukrainian lines. The tactical flexibility of the system is another advantage. The TOS-three can be quickly repositioned after firing and is therefore difficult to locate and counter. The improved electronics and new loading system also make the system more efficient and less prone to failure. The Ukrainian army is trying to adapt to the new threat. Mobile units, better camouflage, and the expansion of shelters are some of the measures being taken. But the possibilities for protecting against the TOS-three are limited. The range and destructive power of the system make it one of the most dangerous weapons on the modern battlefield. The development of the TOS-three Dragon shows how much the Ukraine war has changed in recent months. Russia is increasingly relying on highly advanced weapon systems that specifically exploit the weaknesses of Ukrainian defenses. Ukraine, on the other hand, is forced to constantly adapt its strategy and find new ways to assert itself against Russian superiority. The question of how Ukraine can respond to the TOS-three Dragon is preoccupying military experts worldwide. Some call for more support from Western weapon systems, others rely on better reconnaissance and faster reaction times. One thing is clear: Ukraine is facing an enormous challenge that goes far beyond the purely military dimension. The psychological impact of the TOS-three should not be underestimated. The fear of an attack with thermobaric rockets paralyzes troops and weakens morale. The Ukrainian army must fight not only against physical destruction, but also against the mental strain that such a weapon system brings. The international community is faced with the question of how to respond to the development. The use of thermobaric weapons is viewed critically by many states, but there is no explicit ban. Russia is deliberately exploiting this gray area to further expand its military superiority. For Ukraine, this means the coming weeks and months will be decisive. The question is not only whether the Ukrainian army can find an answer to the TOS-three Dragon, but also how the international community will react to the new threat. Any weakening of Ukrainian defenses plays into Moscow's hands and could further influence the course of the war. The development of the TOS-three Dragon is further evidence of how quickly the military landscape in the Ukraine war is changing. Russia is relying on innovation and technological superiority, while Ukraine is forced to constantly reinvent itself. The coming months will show whether Ukraine can rise to this challenge, or whether the Dragon will continue to turn the front lines into rubble and ashes. What do you think? Can Ukraine defend itself against the TOS-three Dragon? Share your opinion in the comments and stay tuned for further analysis of the latest developments in the Ukraine war.